I think that Alberta has done a tremendously significant amount of work on the environment, something that's unprecedented and frankly was unexpected. I don't think that most people in BC know what we've done, and I think there's value to talking to them about it. I think that even today I was reading, some fairly well-informed commentary by people in BC, and they were still talking about how, well, if Kinder Morgan goes through, clearly there's going to be more oil taken out of the ground. Well, that's not true. Kinder Morgan is about getting a better return from the oil that's coming out no matter what. And so that point needs to be made. The fact that we put in an emissions cap, which puts an exclamation mark behind what I've just said, is something that people don't understand. So again, Kinder Morgan isn't about giving permission for unfettered greenhouse gas emission growth. Everyone in BC gets up in the morning and looks west. They're in Vancouver, right? They look west, they look at the ocean, they look at their mountains, and they go, oh, I love being here. This is the world. And what happens out east is somewhat of an issue, but not a huge issue. But it's not always that way, because they too need to have jobs. They need to have economic security. So it's about trying to have a reasonable conversation where you put out some of these other perspectives to them and ask them to listen. And you might have to do that more than once, but that's what I'm going to try to do. I think that, where the federal NDP stands right now is they have a number of specific MPs that are in ridings that are particularly concerned about the pipeline, and so they're doing the work that they think they have to do, and they're focusing mostly on the process. I disagree with Thomas Mulcair and his characterization of the process up to this date. I think that the federal government has actually done the due diligence that they needed to do. But you know what? Sometimes we're going to disagree. And that's happened between provincial sections of the party, provincial governments, and the federal caucus in the past. I do believe, we're certainly having conversations with them too, and I'm making the case again that this ultimately is about jobs. It's about 20% of Canada's exports are oil and gas, and the best and most beneficial market for that export is west of us. So we can't ban the West Coast as a way and a means of getting the product to market. And so that's the case that I continue to make. The right to dissent is a fundamental one. The right to demonstrate, the right to civil disobedience, these things are all fundamental rights that all Canadians enjoy, and people will do it to greater and lesser degrees, but it's got to be done within the rule of law. As I say again, these things can get intense. In BC, people have often said, oh, look at the politics in BC, what's going on there? It can be quite intense sometimes. The NDP was in government with the Clayoquot Sound forestry issue trying to get resolved. And whereas it had just got more and more and more intense leading up to them coming into government, they then sat down and slowly tried to bring people to the table and come to a resolution, which slowly over 2 or 3 years of everybody yelling at each other and everybody predicting the demise of the NDP, that they were actually able to achieve. And so it's with that experience in mind that I think that that's the way we get to a resolution here.